So, what I've been doing lately is working through the lore of my story because there is a lot of it and I have to make sure it's all consistent. Um, and this year, my story expanded. I thought it was going to be 3 books, and it turned into probably 9 or 10 books by the time I'm finished. So it's really important that I get the foundations of the story right. So, I'm working right now with the Sinte, and one of the things that I didn't realize when I started working on it was that I have accidentally copied Tolkien. So, whoops. I hadn't read The Silmarillion since I was 12, and when I read it, it was like reading the Bible. It was very deep and heavy and just too much for me to hang on to. So I put it aside and I moved on and I read other things. And apparently something stuck because, lo and behold, my Sinte are very much like Tolkien's Einar. So I didn't realize that, and it wasn't intentional, but there it is. Also, I've been studying the Inklings lately, if you can't tell. C.S. Lewis has a similar creation story where he uses music. And anyway, so I have inadvertently been definitely influenced by Tolkien and Lewis. So, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, if I'm going to be influenced by somebody, then those are good people to be influenced by. But what I'm studying right now is how Tolkien used the planets in his work and the way that he wove the idea of the mythological characters that were associated with those planets and their attributes through his stories. And that's very interesting to me because I sort of had that idea with the Sinte, but not exactly. Anyway, so I'm just sort of trying to separate my ideas a little bit from these influences, but also, if I can use something and it'll work, I'm going to do it. So I'm basically going through and for instance, Domini reminds me very much of Jove, but not exactly. I have in my head who all of the Sinte are. So it's not a one-to-one thing, and I'm going back through and trying to figure out exactly where they are and then how they fit into the story. And these stories, pretty much from what I understand, are going to be just about Dane and Tristan. There's not going to be a whole lot of Sarah. We're staying in Kennard, and if I tell Sarah's story and the rest of it, then it'll be in separate books. So if you are interested in Sarah and want to know more about her, those will be in other books. But the story moving forward is going to be Dane and Tristan. So, and that's really how I started out. When I first had the idea for the books, I wanted it to all be in Kennard. I didn't really intend to have as much of it in our world as I did. But Sarah showed up and she did what she wanted to do, and we got Sourfish, and that was what came out. So anyway, I think it works. I think that what will happen is anybody who doesn't appreciate or like Sarah, and I've had some critique of her, anybody who doesn't like her can just skip that book and they can go to the next book and start there. So hopefully it'll be okay. When I was writing Sourfish, I kind of thought of it as The Hobbit, and the rest of the books were going to be, where the real story was. So it was kind of a prequel anyway, and it's gonna be fine. So anyway, I had 80,000 words written, and when I expanded the series, I had to go back and rework a lot of it. So I've done that now, and I am merrily typing away. But anyway, hopefully it'll go a whole lot faster now, and hopefully I can get through all of it in a much more timely manner. But that's where I'm at.